Wrestling fans, we're backstage here at Ballpark Brawl 8. I'm here with Brutus, the Barber Beefcake. Brutus, thank you for joining us here for Ballpark Brawl. What's it like to be back in Buffalo here for the show today?
Well, it's great to be back in Buffalo. Brutus, the Barber Beefcake's been working in this town, beating people up and cutting hair for a lot of years. So the people of Buffalo and me are no strangers.
How did the barber gimmick come up? How did the angle with that? Who decided that you're going to start cutting hair in the WWE?
We ain't got time to go into all that. Let's just say that Brutus, the Barber Beefcake made history. He started cutting people's hair, and it's been, nonstop ever since. Nobody's ever done it before, and nobody will ever do it again.
You were part of the Shawn Michaels throwing Marty Jannetty. It was actually in the barbershop that occurred. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, I was hosting the barbershop, and when I was pretty surprised to see him throw Marty through the window, as everybody else was. I guess that was definitely one of the high points in the barbershop outtake clips, you might say. But you know what? The barbershop was a great time for me. It was a great time in my life. You name it. They were on the barbershop.
How was it teaming with Greg the Hammer Valentine?
Well, Greg the Hammer and I still talk all the time. He's one heck of a talented individual, second-generation wrestler. A really tough individual. And it was an honor. It was a privilege to be with Greg the Hammer Valentine. We're still tagging up to this day. We're still touring the country, kicking people's butts, and you know what? I enjoy it.
When you went over to WCW, part of NWO, probably one of the biggest angles in wrestling history. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, the NWO was a great time. The WCW, it's just a shame that poor judgment on some people's parts had to, make that go south. How was it something we had going so good, so powerful, such a great on such a great role could go out of how a company could go out of business. It just goes to show you. Nothing's for sure. Nothing's written in stone. Anything can happen to anybody at any given time, and it surely will.
You jumped over to Warrior Nation, worked with the Ultimate Warrior a little bit. What was that like?
That was not much fun for me. The Warrior wasn't signed. There wasn't a Warrior Nation. That was a Warrior joke, in my opinion. He is a joke, and to this day, he's still a joke. And unfortunately for me, I was caught in the crossfire. And it's just a shame that good people had to suffer because of, like I said, poor judgment on people's parts.
And I'm going to jump back a little bit. I still remember you coming out in WWF when you first made your debut. You used to come out, walk around the ring a little bit, and just kind of you make your appearance. How did you get into the wrestling?
Hulk Hogan recruited me in 1975. We trained for 2 years, basically, every day. Worked out in the gym. And getting ready to start wrestling in 1976, late 1976, in Pensacola, Florida, in Alabama territory for the Armstrongs and the Fullers. It was a great time in my life. 31 years in the wrestling business, brother. It's a long time, and I'm still at it.
You look great. You look in phenomenal shape.
Brother, I'm in the best shape I've ever been in my life, and just you have to be if you're going to stay in this game. And you got to keep your head on your shoulders. There's a lot of guys that I've seen come and go. A lot of my friends aren't with us anymore today, unfortunately, because, they weren't smart enough to keep their head on straight, and keep focused and keep going, keep looking ahead, look to the future a little bit. All they did was think about how much partying they could do today. You know what? They paid the price.
What advice do you give, wrestlers coming up? There's, with a lot of the controversy today in wrestling. Any advice? Again, 31 years strong. What piece of advice would you give somebody that, trying to get into the wrestling business?
Go back to college, get an education, get a real job, because most of the clowns I see running around, they ain't going to make it in the wrestling business. How about that?
She'll talk to Hulk Hogan a lot?
Every day.
Jimmy Hart?
Yep. Still stay in close contact with all my family.
Brutus Barber, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
You got it, man.